this is the other side of what I do. This is a little bit my passion, because you know I'm not charging anything for it, but this is how I afford to be able to do the stuff for you people out there. Okay, like everything else. Anyway, as I mentioned, chicken breast, and especially always clean your hands before you work on stuff here. Okay. Now, chicken, as we've mentioned beforehand, chicken breast. I'm sure you've tried to poach it before, or even cook it, and it goes really dry, especially when you try and keep it. Now, part of the key to being able to eat healthily is to be able to prepare things in advance, and that requires a little bit of prep time. But let's just try and make life a little bit easier for yourself. This is what you basically need. Grab yourself what you might feel that you need for a week. Mine's probably about 2 to 3 kilos of chicken. So that's just me. Right? I don't eat red meat. I eat chicken and fish. But I'll show you the basic things. We'll go through the basics of what you need. All your stuff here, your chicken, and some form of acid of some type or the other. Let me clarify this again. We're doing, we're poaching some chicken here. So it's not so boring and dry. And I've got a little bit of garlic here and ginger, just for essence and flavor. What you're gonna need is a largish kind of pot here, something where the water can actually get around what you're gonna be cooking, because you need to cover all the surface area. Now, part of the thing is here when preparing your chicken. And make sure you use a separate board for your chicken and the rest of the vegetables, because you can cross-contaminate. Now what you need to do is get it thin enough so that when you do cook it, it cooks all around and not just in the center. So this is basically it. Right? I'll just do a couple of these so I can show you what's going on here. Now, this one's pretty thin itself, but that's what we're going to do here. Alright, so you want strips about this big, so they cook nice and evenly and quickly. That's the base of it. You want to quickly cook this without too much heat, so it doesn't draw out too much of the liquid that's in the chicken. Now, we can go into a complete different topic about hormone-free chickens and grain-fed and all that other stuff, organic chickens, but for this purpose we're just using normal chicken here, and I'll get into other depths of that later on down the line. But alright, so that's basically, I'll save this for another tutorial for grilled chicken breast and how that stays moist when you want to cook it. But we'll do poached for now, because that's probably the healthiest option. Right, let me walk. Okay, back to it. Chicken breast here. Now, this is what else I normally do. Here, usually you do the different board, but if you're at home, it's no big deal, you probably cut this first. These are your lemons. You need some form of acid in the water, so it helps to retain some of the texture of the proteins in the chicken. So basically all I do, get a good squeeze. Up to you, lemons, limes, vinegar even, or whatever you like to use. Sometimes another good option is just, if you like other things, like you could use mirin, or coconut vinegar, or whatever you want, as long as it's an acid. Get that flavor and keeps the texture of the flesh together. So that should be enough. You don't need too much to overpower it, just a little bit. Depends on how strict you are with your diet. Some people like to use salt, some people don't. I like to add just a little bit because it does alter. I'm going to be a little monkey scientist here, like the structure of the boiling point of the water. It actually raises the temperature threshold of water before it boils, because as you know, water boils at 100 degrees. This sort of brings it up to like 102, 103 without being able to boil, which is important with what we're doing here. Now, as you notice, I've just turned it on now. What you want to do is, when you start poaching, don't start it when it's hot. That's a little too late. You want to start it when it's warm or even cool. So what we got here, we got some ginger. I just add a little bit just for flavor. You can either use something like this or just put the whole knob in. Sometimes I like to go. And that's in essence, that's pretty much that, right? Or you just add the whole knob, it's up to you. You can discard it later on, that's basically what it is. but you'd add more flavor by obviously taking it apart. But this is a tutorial, so this is what we do. Again, another choice if you want to do it. A bit of garlic. This is garlic with a bit of oil in it for preservation, but again, it's up to you. Like, I'm only doing it because it's handy at the moment. I would have chopped some up myself, but that's probably about all you need. That's just my choice of flavors, right? So, you'll watch this here. You can give that a good stir, and that's your basic poaching liquid, and that'll give you a basic flavor, right? So, check the temperature of that thing. I've got a little cheat here. This will tell me what it is, but basically 35 to 38 degrees is about good. And at this point, I'll be starting to get ready for chicken. Right? Now this is all I do, right? You get it to the temperature where it's a warm bath, and this is what I've discovered all the time. You start to put it in now as it starts to get warm. Make sure when you put them in, don't put it all in at one go. Make sure that the water covers all this to the surface, right? Because that'll start to seal in itself. I'll explain to you why. I'll explain to you why in a second. Right, what you want to do is, if it gets too hot, the water's boiling by the time you put it in, which most people do, right? It seals and it tightens up because there's no fat in it, and it goes and curls out. Oh, we got an order here. I'll come back to you in a sec. Turn it off. Okay, well, we're back. We got rid of that order for the time being. Basically, this is what we come to now. See how some of it's starting to get opaque? What you want to do at this point is bring it up to the heat. You want to move it right to the point where the water boils, and then shut it down and let it come back. And then that's when you leave it be at that temperature, and just check as it cooks as the temperature starts to come back down. And when it gets to the right temperature, when it's actually, when you see that it's actually cooked, pull it out, and I'll show you what to do, and I'll tell you why when you get to that sort of point. But anyways, in a nutshell, that's what we're doing. This is poached tender chicken. You guys are gonna love it. You guys are gonna love it. No more dry chicken salads ever again, having to force it down with a glass of water. You know what I'm talking about when you've been trying to cut down and eat healthy on some of these days. You eat this all year round. You're gonna love it. Seriously. Alright, well, so I'm back. I'm gonna show you what I mean when it starts to boil, because it's gonna take a little bit of time, but trust me, we'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, update. We're getting closer to it. You can see steam starting to build up top and water starting to move around here. It means you're getting close to boiling point. Now, digging into it, you can see we're all coated, and they're well and truly on the way to starting to cook. Like even this thin piece here, that's just about done. So watch carefully. You probably keep your eye out on some of the bigger pieces, but we're not far off here. I'll show you. See, it's starting to move. Look, we're almost boiling. Keep your eye on it. So we're really not far off of here. As soon as that water starts to boil, shut it down and let it sit in the bath. Now, the second stage to this, while this is almost happening, if you can get ready, is if you've got access to ice at home. I know it's not, you haven't got a commercial kitchen or that, but I'll show you the basic thing. Like, that's why I like working in this place. You have everything at your disposal. Now, this is a process that's just as important as the cooking part. Because you're trying to stop it from cooking. Because it comes out hot, it will continue to cook even though you're not cooking it. This in my industry is called the, I just got brain fart. The carry-on cooking process. There we go. I've got some brains today. So what you need to do is get the chicken, or whatever you may be cooking, and put it in an ice bath so that it stops cooking. Anyways. Look, it's starting to boil. Just about. No, I'm just kidding. It's almost there. But anyways, when it gets to boiling point, I'll get back to you in a sec. Okay.
We're back.
Here's that moment we've been waiting for. Look. Whoa. We got movement. It's starting to come up, and we're just about to hit boiling point. Now, about this point, if your chicken's really thin, you're probably going too far. So, watch carefully because it'll start to overcook very soon. This is basically the point there. You don't want to boil it, you want to poach it. So that's probably enough. There we go. So we'll shut it off. And some of these bigger pieces, have a look here. That's probably the fattest one here. It's done, as you can see. It's a little bit pink through the middle, but that's alright sort of thing, because that'll continue to cook for... So, back to the thing. Get out of my chicken.
Sorry, mate.
Back there, that's probably another like 2 minutes in there by itself. Water's off. It's just sitting in its own heat right now. It's off. Afterwards, this is what we do. See, that's already sorted itself out. That's already done. See, just being out of it, it's already no longer pink.
No.
Boom! In there it goes. This is what we're doing. So, as I mentioned earlier, you got to stop the process. In the ice bath. You may think this removes flavor, but it's actually been infused in from the way you cooked into it. You have no surface seasoning. You can reheat this chicken to any seasoning if you want, because remember, this probably isn't ideal for if you wanted a nice fresh meal at the time, but you know, look, most of us don't have the time to cook fresh for every meal that we've got. So you got to think ahead of time, especially if you've got goals and things that you want to achieve in your fitness regime. So you know, food's one of the things. Like you got to be prepared. Now, I'll bring your attention back to this stuff here for a second. Don't waste this. This is good stuff, man. This has got like heaps of flavor. So if you want to cook your rice, like your brown rice and stuff in it, instead of using normal water, keep it. Use this. Make a soup out of it or something like that. You know, for your vegetables or something like, or whatever. There's heaps of uses for it, but you know, think with your head. Like that's just one idea. Cook your brown rice with it. You'll get plenty of flavor out of it. This has virtually no fat in it anyway, so it's like it's the flavor from the chicken, not from the fat anyway. So you know, that's why we like chicken breast. It's good, clean eating. Now, that's well and truly done. At this point, if you're at home, you could sit out, drain it, put it into containers, and portion out to when you need to eat it, however you want it. You could. See, that's done. That's for your salad. Look, nice and juicy, fluffy. No, nothing dry. And you know, sort of thing. Use that in your salad straight away, or you can add it to a stir fry with sauces. You could. God, you know, it's endless. You know, sort of thing. But at least it's there in your fridge when you're going to come back and you got to eat on that time. So, just a quick tutorial on how to poach chicken so that it's not dry and it will remain moist the whole time that you have it. You cook it for the whole week. You do half of your morning on your day off to sort yourself out, and then it's easy for the rest of the week. So that's just one idea. So yeah. Anyways, tune into the future for other cooking tips and other fitness tips, and train hard and train smart. Make your life easy, cook well, and eat easy. This makes your life easier, trust me.
Oh, yummy.
Sort yourself out in one day. That's it. But hey, listen to these guys.
At the end of the day, you can do whatever fuck you wanna do.
Like I said, it's just a price.
You can run, but you can't hide from the west side night.